129. Let's see if my microphone turns on. There we go. Page 129. 129. Does that seem unbelievably loud to all of you? It doesn't seem. Yeah. I think it seems very loud. It is. For some reason, the sound system is way louder. I'm going to get the mixing board, fix that. Okay, let's see here. We'll go there, and maybe, let's see. Maybe that's a little better and it's not so ridiculously loud, right? For those of you watching on YouTube and templeshalom.com, nothing happened. Everything was perfect from the start. But Shabbat Shalom, everyone. If you will turn to page 129, we'll begin. A little music to bring us into the mood of Shabbat. Near the bottom of the page. Ki eshmera Shabbat el yishmereini. Ki eshmera Shabbat el yishmereini. Oti le'ol me'ad beino uveini. Oti le'ol me'ad beino uveini. Ki eshmera Shabbat el yishmereini. Ki eshmera Shabbat el yishmereini. Oti le'ol me'at beino uveini. Oti le'ol me'at beino uveini. Page 120, if you'll turn to 120. We'll come to the prayers for lighting our candles. As we do, we're not only lighting our candles of Shabbat, but of this Yom Tov as well as we enter into the day of Shmini Atzeret. If you don't know what Shmini Atzeret is, raise your hand if you don't know what Shmini Atzeret is. Raise your hand if you do know what Shmini Atzeret is. Okay, we're about 75 no and 25% yes. That's good, because I was going to talk about that tonight. If you all knew, my sermon would be ruined, and you wouldn't know what was going on, so we're all good. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech ha'olam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu Lehadlik ner shel Shabbat v'shel Yom Tov. We'll continue on page 130 as we'll begin to welcome in Shabbat with the Psalms that the Kabbalists of Sfat gave to us to leave our week and come back to the beauty and the peace of Shabbat. Lechu neranina, lechu neranina, lechu neranina l'Adonai. Lechu neranina, lechu neranina, lechu neranina l'Adonai. Nari Nadia, Nadia, Litzur Yishenu, Nikadma Fanav Bitoda. Nadia, Nadia, Litzur Yishenu, Bizmirot Nerialo, Lechu Neranina, Lechu Neranina, Lechu Neranina, Ladonai, Lechu Neranina, Lechu Neranina, Lechu Neranina, Ladonai. From Psalm 96 on page 131. The bottom paragraph there, 6 lines or so from the bottom, I think it is. Yismechu hashamayim, the heavens will be happy. B'tagel haaretz, and the land will rejoice. Yiram hayam, and the sea will celebrate. Umaloo, and all that fills them. Psalm 96, the idea that all of God's creation gives thanks for its own creation. Yismechu hashamayim, Yismechu hashamayim, Yismechu hashamayim, B'tagel haaretz. Yismechu hashamayim, Yismechu hashamayim, Yismechu hashamayim, B'tagel haaretz. Yiram hayam, Yiram hayam, Yiram hayam, Umelo. Yiram hayam, Yiram hayam, Yiram hayam, Umelo. Yismechu hashamayim, Yismechu hashamayim, Yismechu hashamayim, B'tagel Psalm 97 at the bottom of page 132. Or Zarua Lat Tzadikul Yishrei Lev Simcha, 4 lines from the bottom. If we are righteous people and if we are good-hearted people, we will have light and we will have happiness. Or Zarua Lat Tzadikul Yishrei Lev Simcha. Or Zarua Lat Tzaddik u'yishrei lev simcha. Or zarua lat tzaddik u'yishrei lev simcha. U'yishrei lev simcha. Or zarua lat tzaddik u'yishrei lev simcha. U'yishrei lev simcha. Lai 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 lai. Lai, 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 lai. From Psalm 98, we'll read together at the bottom of page 33 in the English, 133. A psalm, sing to Adonai a new song, for God has worked wonders. God's right hand, God's holy arm has won God victory. Adonai has manifested God's victory, has displayed God's triumph in the sight of the nations. God was mindful of God's steadfast love and faithfulness toward the house of Israel. All the ends of the earth beheld the victory of our God. Raise a shout to Adonai, all the earth. Break into joyous songs of praise. Psalm 99 is one of those joyous songs of praise. The last 3 lines we sing together. Romembu Adonai Eloheinu v'hishtachavu lehar kodsho. Romembu Adonai Eloheinu v'hishtachavu lehar kodsho. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu romembu. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu romembu. Romembu Adonai Eloheinu v'hishtachavu lehar kodsho. Romembu Adonai Eloheinu v'hishtachavu lehar kodsho. On page 137, the last 2 lines of Psalm 29. speaks of God's power in the universe. We use this psalm every Saturday morning when we carry the Torah during our Hakafat, the end of the Torah service. After we've read lessons from the Torah, the idea is that if we say this psalm at that point in time, we'll remind ourselves of God's power and the stories that we just had previously read just a few minutes ago before we carry the Torah. The end of the psalm, Adonai oz le'amo yitin, Adonai yivarech et amo v'shalom. May God grant strength to God's people, and may God bestow upon God's people shalom, peace and well-being. Lai 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 Adonai oz le'amo yitain yitain. Adonai yivarech et amo v'shalom. Adonai oz le'amo yitain yitain. Adonai yivarech et amo v'shalom. Lai 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 On page 138 and 139, we welcome in the image of the Shabbat bride the words of the Chadodi. Lecha dodi likrat kala, Pnei Shabbat nikavela. Lecha dodi likrat kala, Pnei Shabbat nikavela. Lecha dodi likrat kala, Pnei Shabbat nikavela. Adodi likrat kala, Pnei Shabbat nikavela. Shamor v'zachor v'dibur echad, Kishmi anu el hamiuchad. Adonai echad u'shemo echad, L'shem tiferet v'letchila. Lecha dodi, Lecha dodi likrat kala, Pnei Shabbat nikavela. Lecha dodi likrat kala, Pnei Shabbat nikavela. Likrat Shabbat lechu v'necha, Ki hi mekor habracha. Merosh mikedem nesucha, Sof ma'aseh b'machshavat chila. Lecha dodi likrat kala, Pnei Shabbat nikavela. Lecha dodi likrat kala, Pnei Shabbat nikavela. Mikdash melech ir melucha, Kumitzei betoche hafecha, Rav lach shevet be'emek habercha, V'hu yachamol alayich chemla. Lecha dodi likrat kala, Pnei Shabbat nikavela. Lecha dodi likrat kala, Pnei Shabbat nikavela. Ihitna ari me'afar pumi, Lishivigdei tifartecha mi. Al yad b'ni sha'e beitcha lachmi, Karva el nafshi ge'ala. Lecha dodi likrat kala, Pnei Shabbat nikavela, lecha dodi dikrat kala. Pnei Shabbat nikavela, התעוררי, כי באורך קומי אורי, שיר דברי, כבוד אדוני עלייך נגלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקרא בלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקרא בלה. לא תבושי ולא תקלמי, מה תשתוכחי ומה תהמי, בך יכנסו עניי עמי, ונבנתה עיר אל תירא. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקרא בלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקרא בלה. והיו למשיסה שוסייך, ורחקו כל מבלייך, יסיס עלייך אלוהייך, כנשוס חתן על כלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקרא בלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקרא בלה. ימין ושמאל תפרוצי, ואת אדוני תעריצי. על יד איש בן פרצי, ונשמחה ונגילה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקרא בלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקרא בלה. We rise as we face the door, as we welcome in the Shabbat bride. בואי בשלום עטרת בעלה, גם בשמחה ובצהלה, תוך אמוני עם סגולה. בואי חלה, בואי חלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקרא בלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקרא בלה. While we're standing, we can turn to our neighbors and wish everyone Shabbat Shalom. For those of you who are online on templeshalom.com and on YouTube as well, Shabbat Shalom to all of you. Well, Shabbat Shalom again, everyone. As we find our seats, we can turn to page 140, Psalm 92. Mizmor Shir, let us sing a song of Shabbat Tov Lehodot Ladonai. It is good to give thanks to God on this Shabbat. Mizmor Shir Leyom HaShabbat Tov Lehodot Ladonai. ולזמר לשמך עליון, ולזמר לשמך עליון. מזמור שיר ליום השבת, טוב להודות לאדוני. ולזמר לשמך עליון, ולזמר לשמך עליון. Hagi baboker chastecha ve'emunatecha baleilot alei asor ve'alei navel alei higayon ve'chilot mizmor shir yom haShabbat tov lehodot la'Adonai ולזמר לשמך עליון, ולזמר לשמך עליון. כי שימחתני אדוני בפועלך, במעשה ידיך ארנים. מה גדלו מעשיך אדוני מאוד, עמקו מחשבותיך. מזמור שיר ליום השבת, טוב להודות לאדוני, ולזמר לשמך עליון, ולזמר לשמך עליון. מזמור שיר ליום השבת, טוב להודות לאדוני, ולזמר לשמך עליון, ולזמר לשמך עליון, ולזמר לשמך עליון, ולזמר לשמך עליון. Page 144. Yitgadal v'yitgadash shmei Rabba, Yamad yivrachute v'yamlich malchute, v'chayechon uv'yomechon, uv'chaye dechol Beit Yisrael, ba'agala, ba'agala, uv'izman ka'ariv yimeru, Amen. Yehei shmei Rabba mevorach, Ve'alam alame amaya yitbarach, yitbarach, v'yishtabach, v'yitbar, v'yitram, v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar, v'yitaleh, v'yitalal, shemei d'kudisha, v'richu le'elam min kol berchata, v'shirata, tushbechata, v'nechemata, damiran be'alma, v'yimeru, Amen. We rise for Baruch Hu. On page 394 is where you'll turn. I know those of you who are Friday night regulars are saying, wait a minute, that's not the right page. But this is both Shabbat and a festival as we're coming to Shmini Atzeret. And so as we begin Shmini Atzeret, we change a few of the prayers around just a little bit for the holiday. And so we begin with Baruch Hu. Lai, 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 lai. Lai la lai 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 lai. Lai la lai 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 lai. Lai la lai 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 lai. Lai la lai 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 lai. Lai la lai 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 lai. Lai la lai 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 lai. Lai la lai 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 lai. Baruch Hu et Adonai Hamevorach. Baruch Adonai Hamevorach, Hamevorach Le'olam va'ed. Hamevorach, Hamevorach Le'olam va'ed. We can be seated. Page 396. We give thanks for creation. 1 week from tomorrow morning, we will be reading from Parashat Bereshit. And tomorrow night, we'll be reading from Parashat Bereshit. Tomorrow night, Erev Simchat Torah, we'll finish reading the Torah. We'll start all over again. And so tomorrow evening, as we come to the death of Moses, I hope that's not a spoiler for anybody. Tomorrow night, as we come to the, did I ruin the story for someone? But tomorrow night, as we will read the very end of the story, as the Israelites are just about to make their way into the land of Israel, and Moses goes off to die, and then we'll immediately begin, because because we don't want to end on a sad note. So we begin on a happy note, and that happy note is the note of creation. And so tomorrow night we also read the words of Bereshit. And so we, as we're about to read the creation story, we have a particular connection to this prayer on this particular week of Ma'ariv Aravim on 396, our prayer giving thanks for creation. Lai, 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 lai. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bidvaro ma'ariv aravim, v'chokhma poteach sha'arim, u'v'tvuna mishane itim, u'machalif et hazmanim, u'misader et hakochavim, u'mishmurotehem barakim kirtzono. Lai, 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 Orion v'layla, goleon mitni choshech, choshech mitni or, uma'avir yom u'mevi layla, uma'avdil ben yom u'ben layla, Adonai tziva'ot shemo. Lai, 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 lai. El chai v'kayam, tamid yimloch aleinu, ve'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai, Ma'ariv Aravim. Lai, 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 lai. On page 397, where you see where it says Shmini Atzeret Simchat Torah, there's a beautiful saying. It comes from Pirkei Avot, chapter 5, the final chapter of Pirkei Avot. It says, "Afoch ba ve'afoch ba dechol haba." One of my favorite expressions from Pirkei Avot. It means turn it over and turn it over, because everything is in it. It's the perfect saying for Simchat Torah tomorrow night, right? We're going to take the Torah, we're going to turn it over again. We're going to roll all the way back to the beginning and start over and learn something new as we read it anew for this upcoming year. And Ben Bogbog is the name of the rabbi. He had a friend named Ben Hey. You don't think that's a joke. That's true. It's really his name, Ben Bogbog and Ben Hey. Ben Hey is quoted right after Ben Bogbog. There's a whole story as to why that's their names, and we'll teach a class on Pirkei Avot and teach about the Pirkei Avot rabbis another time. But really, it's really a wonderful thing for this time of year. Turn the Torah over. It says turn it over, and the it is the Torah. Turn the Torah over and turn the Torah over, for everything is in it. As they translate it here, it says keep your eyes attached to it. Spend your lifetime in its study. That's a very polite translation of what the actual Hebrew says. The actual Hebrew says grow old and gray with it. They made it spend your lifetime in its study. They PC'd it a little bit, I think, here. Never budge from it, for there is no better way of life than this. And we speak of the beauty of Torah on this holiday as we now turn to Ahavat Olam. page 398, which is our prayer giving thanks for the gift of Torah. Ahavat olam, Beit Yisrael, Amcha ahavta, Amcha ahavta. Torah u'mitzvot, u'kimu mishpatim, otanu limadeta, otanu limadeta. Al kein Adonai, Eloheinu b'shofrinu, u'menu nasiach b'techa, v'nismach b'divrei Toratecha, u'mitzvotecha le'olam va'ed, ki hem chayenu, be'orech yameinu, u'vahem nehege yomam v'layla, nehege yomam v'layla. Be'ahavatcha al tasir, mimenu le'olamim, Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev Amo Yisrael, Ohev Amo Yisrael. Page 400 and 401. We join together in the words of Shema. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Le'olam Va'ed. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha v'chol levavcha v'chol nafshecha v'chol meodecha v'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavecha hayom al levavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'divarta bam v'shivtecha v'veitecha uvlechtecha v'derech uv'shochbecha uv'kumecha uv'shartam le'od al yadecha v'hayu letotafot b'neinecha uv'ktavtam al mezuzot beitecha uv'hisharecha leman tizkeruhu v'asitem et kol mitzvotai v'hem kedoshim eloheichem ani Adonai Elohechem asher hotzeiti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim yot lachem le'elohim ani Adonai Elohechem Adonai Elohechem emet. We'll turn to page 406. As our ancestors made their way out of Egypt, they slept in booths, temporary structures, on their wanderings through the desert. And each night before, or I should say at the end of each stay before they would leave, God would give them instructions to follow a pillar of fire. And each night of those, the night before, a new journey would happen. The Israelites would revisit their thanks. They'd often forget it a day or two later, but they would revisit their thanks before they journeyed off and think back to perhaps the moment of crossing through the Sea of Reeds as they gave thanks for their freedom from Egypt. And we use their same words from the book of Exodus, chapter 15, on page 406 in our Siddur Micha Mocha. Micha Mocha Ba'elim Adonai Mi kamocha nedar bakodesh nora tehilot. Oh, Seifele, mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha nedar b'kodesh, nora tehilot. Oh, Seifele, malchutecha ra'uvanecha. Okay, ayam nifnei Moshe u'Miriam, ze Eli anu ve'amru, Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed. Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi chamocha nedar b'kodesh. V'ne'amar ki fara Adonai et Yaakov, u'go'olom yad chazak miminu baruch atah Adonai, go'al Yisrael. Thus it is said, Adonai redeemed Jacob from a hand stronger than his own. Praise to Adonai for redeeming Israel. Page 409. We'll read together at the bottom of the page. May we lie down this night in peace and rise up to life renewed. May this night spread over us a canopy of calm, lifted by the blessing of rest. There will come a time when the morning will bring no word of war, famine, or anguish. There will come a dawn to rejoice in the peace of mind, heart, and being. Praised are you, the source of renewal within us, for the night's rest and for the promise of peace. It's not an exact translation of the words on page 408, but it's a really beautiful poetic rendition that sticks close to the translation, but brings it into more modern words and the beautiful essence of the words. The third line down on page 408 says, Ufros aleinu sukat shlomecha. For this last week, we've spent time in the Sukkah. Some of us have eaten a meal or two or 20 in the Sukkah. Some of us have slept a night or two or more. Some of us have just spent a couple of minutes or a couple of hours. But hopefully everyone has had the time to be in the Sukkat Shalom, in the Sukkah of peace during this holiday of Sukkot. We actually bring to a close as the sun goes down now and enter into a new holiday called Shmini Atzeret. That's your hint as to what I'll talk about in just a few minutes. A lot of people think that it's part of Sukkot, but it's actually a completely different holiday. I know this because the Torah told me. That's where I learned. But we give thanks for that Sukkah of peace, that shelter of wholeness and completeness and safety. Ufros Aleinu Sukkot, Sukkot Shlomecha. Ufros Aleinu Sukkot, Sukkot Shlomecha. Yalai lai lai, yalai lai lai, yalai lai 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 lai, yalai lai lai, yalai lai lai, yalai lai lai, yalai lai 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 lai. Ufros aleinu Sukkot, Sukkot Shlomecha. Baruch atah Adonai Haporei Sukkat Shalom Aleinu Ve'al kol page 410. We make an announcement of Shabbat, and we make an announcement of the festival of this Shmini Atzeret. We begin with Vishamru. Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et ha'shabbat la'asot et ha'shabbat l'dorotam berit olam b'diyuvim b'nei Yisrael oti le'olam ki sheshet yamim asa Adonai et hashamayim et haaretz uviyom hashvi'i Shabbat Shabbat vayinafash Shabbat Shabbat vayinafash Shabbat Shabbat vayinafash. Vayidaber Moshe et Moadei Adonai el b'nei Yisrael. The people of Israel shall keep Shabbat. Observing Shabbat throughout the ages is a covenant for all time. It is a sign for all time between me and the people of Israel, for in 6 days Adonai made heaven and earth. And on the 7th day God ceased from work and was refreshed. And we also read as well, the people, Moses declared the Moadim, the appointed times of Adonai, to the people of Israel. We continue as we're going to turn to page 468. And we'll rise for our festival Amidah. During our festival Amidah, there are a few inserts that you'll see that'll say for Shmini Atzeret, and so we'll add in those extra pieces along the way. Adonai sifatai tiftach ufi agid tehilatecha. 470. Baruch ata Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei avotenu v'imotenu Elohei Abraham Elohei Yitzchak Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah Elohei Rivka Elohei Rachel Elohei Leah Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor v'Hanora El Elyon Gomel Chasadim Tovim V'konei Hakol V'zocher Chasdei Avot V'imahot U'mevi Geula Livnei V'neihem L'man Shmo Be'ahava Melech Hoser Moshiach U'Magin Baruch Ata Adonai Magin Abraham Be'ezrat Sarah Ata Gibor Le'olam Adonai Mechayeh HaKol Ata Rab Lehoshia Morid Hata Mechalkel Chayim Bechesed Mechayeh HaKol Berachamim Rabim Somech Noflim Verofeh Cholim Umatir Asurim Umekayem Emunato B'Shenei Afar Micha Mocha Ba'al Gevurot Umido Melach Melech Memit Umechayeh Umatzmiach Yeshua V'ne'emanat halachayot mitim Baruch Ata Adonai Mechayeh HaKol. Take just a pause in our Amidah for a little programming note. For those of you who saw there that it says from Atzeret Simchat Torah, tonight I should say Mashiv HaRuach HaMorid HaGashem instead of Morid Hatal. I'll give you the answer. The answer is we actually make that switch during the Musaf service tomorrow morning. So that's where we make the switches in the middle of the holiday. We continue the top of page 474. Ata kadosh Shimcha kadosh u'kadoshim b'chol yom Yehalelucha Selah Baruch Atah Adonai Ha'el HaKadosh. The top of page 478. Ata v'kartanu mikol ha'amim Avtanu tanu ratzita banu Rumamtanu mikol ushonot B'kidashtanu b'mitzvotecha V'kerevtanu malkeinu ba'avodatecha V'shimcha gadol hakadosh aleinu karata V'titen lanu nana Eloheinu ba'ahava Shabbatot l'menucha U'moadim l'simcha Chagim zmanim l'sason Et yom ha-Shabbat hazeh Ve'et yom ha-Shmini Chag Atzeret hazeh Zman simchatenu Mikra kodesh secher l'tziat Mitzrayim. Top of 480. Eloheinu v'lavotenu v'imotenu Ya'aleh ve'yavo ve'yizkar ve'yizkarnenu ve'zichron kol amcha Beit Yisrael lifanecha L'tov alecheinu l'chesed u'lerachamim L'chaim u'l'shalom b'yom Hashmini Chag Atzeret hazeh. We say Amen at the end of each one of these sentences. Zochreinu Adonai Eloheinu bo l'tova Ufokdeinu bo livracha V'hosieinu bo l'chaim. Amen. We continue silently through the end of our Festival Amidah on page 492. And when you're finished, please be seated. Page 488. 488. Shalom Raha al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Raha al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Ki atahu melech Adon lechol hashalom. Ki atahu melech Adon lechol hashalom, shalom rach, al Yisrael amcha, tasim le'olam, shalom rach, al Yisrael amcha, tasim le'olam, v'tov be'einecha levarech, et amcha Yisrael, bechol עת ובכל שעה, בשלומך. Shalom rach al Yisrael amcha, tasim le'olam. Shalom rach al Yisrael amcha, tasim le'olam. Tasim le'olam. Tasim le'olam. If you'll turn back to page number 371. We ask for healing for those in need. We ask God to bring each and every one of them refuah shlema min hashamayim, healing from the heavens. Bimhera v'yameinu. Quickly in our day, we ask for healing for Gnendel Batsima, Fran Hart, Aharon ben Avraham Vasara, Sarah Tischler, Stanley Sachs, Kathy Twardock, Lucy Jacobs, Fred Troix, Eliezer Mordechai ben Leah Gnasa, Leanna Haas, David Morse, Mick Robertson, David Ben Chaim, Perry Bach, Lisa Stark, Joe Dymek, and Lucas Bartelt, and Jill Kaplan. Do we have any other names for healing that anybody else has on this side? Anyone? Over here? Thank you. Any others? For all those in need, and for all those we've mentioned, we say, middle of 371. Yisheberach avoteinu mikor habracha leimoteinu. May the source of strength bless the ones before us. Help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Misheberach imoteinu mikor habracha le'avoteinu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen. So tonight, we begin the holiday of Shmini Atzeret. So what is the great importance of Shmini Atzeret? And what is it? I'm not sure. Because the Torah doesn't tell us a lot about it. I mean, the Torah tells us this. It says that there are 7 days that are Sukkot. It says, and Sukkot will be on the first day of Sukkot, and on the last day of Sukkot, you will have a Mikra Kodesh, which means a holy time, a sacred time. And then it says, and God spoke to Moses, saying, tell the people of Israel. And in the section that we we'll read some of it tomorrow morning, actually. Each time God says, each time the Torah says, and God spoke to Moses, saying, tell the people of Israel, and then there'd be a new holiday. It starts with Shabbat, and then it goes to Pesach, then it goes to Shavuot, then it goes to Rosh Hashanah, and Yom Kippur, and Sukkot. And then after Sukkot, it says, and God spoke to Moses, saying, tell the children of Israel that there will be a Mikra Kodesh, a sacred occasion. And on that day, you will have a sacred occasion. That's it. All done. The Torah is done. The Torah told us that. You'll have a sacred occasion. So what is this sacred occasion about? And it tells us that we're going to gather. That's it. It's done. That's it. Unlike Sukkot, where it says, you'll take this many sheep and this many goats and this much wheat and stuff and sacrifice on the altar. Unlike Pesach, where it says, you'll take this many lambs and this many sheep and this much wheat and sacrifice on the altar. Unlike Shavuot, where it says the same thing, you will take this many lambs and this many goats, sacrifice on the altar. It says, you will gather, moving on. And that's all it tells us. So we're puzzled, what is this holiday about? Rashi, the 11th century commentator, tells us this. He says, imagine there's a king, and the king is throwing a party that lasts for 7 days. And at the end of the 7 days, everybody goes home, except some people stay. And the king says, my friends, the people who are most important to me, the people who are most devout to the kingdom, the people who want to extend the beauty of this celebration, you stayed an extra day. Rashi says that is Shmini Atzeret. So what do we make from that? I don't know. But what I do know is this, that this brings us to the close of a season. And it seems to be that way in Torah also, that we have Rosh Hashanah. It's not called Rosh Hashanah, it's called Yom Teruah, the day of the shofar blast. And not Yom Kippur, but Yom HaKippurim. And then we have Sukkot, and then Shmini Atzeret. And then it tells us, oh yes, and don't forget about Shabbat. So it seems that Shmini Atzeret was placed there perhaps to bring this season to a close. Now, if you're in Israel tonight, or if you are in the Reform movement tonight, which I guess we could be or could not be here at Temple Shalom, we're in both, Shmini Atzeret and Simchat Torah both begin tonight. If you're in the diaspora and not the Reform movement, Shmini Atzeret begins tonight and Simchat Torah begins tomorrow night. Why? Because we added in the diaspora an extra day to Sukkot. And so Shmini Atzeret and Simchat Torah become the same day in Israel and in the Reform movement, but in the conservative movement, and the Orthodox movement, and the Reconstructionist movement, and the parts of the renewal movement, it becomes an 8th day. Are you confused about the math yet? Because I'm confused about the math here. But basically what it means is this. In Israel and the Reform movement, they said, we're going to make Simchat Torah and Shmini Atzeret the same day. And the rest of the world said, no, we're not. Because we're Jews, and we argue with each other, and that's what we do. We argue over it. But this day of Shmini Atzeret seems to be an extra day of gathering. Now in Israel, why did they decide to make the holiday the same day, the extra day of gathering, and Simchat Torah, the celebration of finishing the Torah and starting the Torah all over again? It seemed to make sense. It makes sense to me. We have a holiday called Sukkot. We live in booths for 7 days, and then we have an extra day of celebration. But the Torah doesn't tell us what we're supposed to celebrate. It just says it's a holy time. You should celebrate. And when the rabbis of old in the Talmudic period created the holiday of Simchat Torah, they said, let's have a holiday of Simchat Torah to celebrate reading the Torah over again after the new year starts. You know, there's already this extra day. and we're supposed to celebrate, but it doesn't say what. Why don't we just combine that and celebrate the Torah? It makes sense, doesn't it? There's a lot of logic to what they did. And then the Jews in the diaspora, we messed it all up by adding an extra day and then separating them or putting them together and all of this craziness. But the origins are really quite beautiful of Simchat Torah. To say there's a day that the Torah told us is a Mikra Kodesh in Hebrew. Mikra, an event or a happening in Kodesh, holy, a holy day, a holy event, a sanctified day, something like that we might translate it. But the Torah doesn't tell us what it is. We, the rabbis thought, should then give it something. Maybe this was a challenge from God. God said, I'm giving you Pesach and Shavuot and Sukkot. I'm going to tell you what to do there. I'm giving you Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. I'm going to tell you what to do there. I'm even giving you Shabbat and telling you what to do there. But I'm going to give one more day. Another day to say, make this day holy. Perhaps the rabbis thought, well, that's a challenge to us. How should we make it holy? Do we have something that's not being celebrated yet that should be celebrated on Shmini Atzeret? Shmini means 8, or the 8th of, and Atzeret means, we don't really know. We don't, because it's only used a couple of times in the Torah, and it's in the context of this day. Some language experts believe that it might mean gathering, it might mean celebration, but we're not really sure. So it's the 8th day of Atzeret, whatever Atzeret means. So maybe 8th day of gathering, maybe 8th day of celebration. If we're going to gather and celebrate, we should have something to celebrate. Let's put it together with celebrating the Torah. I think it's a beautiful idea. The idea that God gave us a challenge to create a holiday out of a time that God set aside to be holy. It also kind of gives us a pattern of how maybe we would create new holidays as things came along. Yom HaZikaron, Israeli Memorial Day. Yom HaAtzmaut, Israeli Independence Day. Yom HaZikaron LaShoah U'Legvura. That sounds like a long-named holiday that most of you don't know, right? Most of you just know it as Yom HaShoah, Holocaust Remembrance Day. But the actual name, the full name of the holiday is actually Yom HaZikaron LaShoah U'Legvura U'Lalochamei HaGetaot. That's the actual name of the holiday. Now you see why we just say Yom HaShoah, because it takes a long time to say Yom HaZikaron LaShoah U'Legvura U'Lalochamei HaGetaot, which translated into English means the day of the remembrance of the Holocaust and the resistance and the ghetto fighters. It's a long name, but it tells a story of what happened during World War II. But this idea of Shmini Atzeret, being setting aside a holy day and then giving it to us, not to God, but to us to figure out what to do to make it holy, gives us the idea of how we might make a holiday holy. God said, I give you this set of holidays, and here's what you do. Here's another holy day. I'm not going to tell you what to do. And then maybe there's a ... because we can add more holidays. And we did. Purim, not in the Torah. Hanukkah, not in the Torah. Tu B'Shvat, not in the Torah. Tisha B'Av, not in the Torah. I won't say all of them because we need to end sometime tonight. We're about to enter into the month of Cheshvan. And what's significant about Cheshvan? I have a colleague of mine, a classmate of mine. She's a rabbi back east, and she has a t-shirt that says, Cheshvan is the rabbi's favorite month. It's the only month on the Hebrew calendar that has no holiday. So we get a day off somewhere in there. I'm not sure which day it is. But this Shmini Atzeret, this 8th day of gathering, this 8th day of celebration, this 8th day of coming together, it's a time to celebrate. In our case this year, it becomes a time to celebrate the Torah. But there are other wonderful celebrations that we've created after that ... that I think God gave us in the Torah. So may we enjoy this Shmini Atzeret and Simchat Torah. Please join us tomorrow night for our Simchat Torah celebration. If you've never been to a Simchat Torah celebration, why haven't you been? I mean, really, it's one of the most wonderful celebrations of the year. We'll be dancing with the Torah scrolls. We're going to take our Torahs have their white mantles from the high holidays on them. Tomorrow we'll switch them back to the mantles for the rest of the year. We'll be dancing with the Torah. We'll be singing. We'll take one of our Torah scrolls and unroll it all the way around the sanctuary so that you can see the entire Torah. It's an amazing celebration that you want to be a part of. It begins at 6 p.m. There's a pasta dinner and maybe some other stuff for dinner, I think, maybe, I'm not sure. So be there at 6. There'll be arts and crafts for the kids and for the adults. All children under the age of 120 years old will be allowed to participate in the arts and crafts to make flags and things. And we'll be singing and dancing and celebrating. It's a wonderful thing, both this beauty of Shmini Atzeret and the beauty of Simchat Torah. So join us tomorrow night for those wonderful, wonderful celebrations in the evening. We're going to bring our service to a close with a last few prayers here. We turn to page 586. We'll rise for Aleinu at the bottom of the page. Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon hakol, l'ateit gdula l'yotzer b'reishit, shelo asanu kogei ha'aratzot, v'lo samanu k'mishpachot ha'adama, shelo sam chelkeinu kahen, v'gor aleinu k'chol hamonam, v'anachnu korim, u'mishtachavim u'modim, lifnei melech, malchei hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Shehu Notei Shamayim ve'yoser haaretz, Moshe v'karo b'shamayim mima'al, u'shchinatu zo, v'gove meromim, Hu Eloheinu einod, emet malkeinu efesu lato, kakatu v'torato, yadata yom v'hashevota, Ele v'havecha, ki Adonai hu Elohim, b'shamayim mima'al, ve'al ha'aretz, v'tachat ein od, the middle of page 590. Ki ha'malchut shelcha yolem timloch b'chavod, ka'katuv b'toratecha, na'im loch le'olam va'ed, v'ne'emar, Vaya Adonai lemelech al kol haaretz, Vayom hahu, Yeh Adonai echad, Ushemo echad, Ushemo echad. We can all be seated. In our yard sites this week, we recall the memories of Bernice Albin, Faye Bain, Saul Schmemmerman, Jacob Heller, Jeanette Ritterband, Philip Cook, Adina Gang, August Cherno, Alfred Schwartz, Diana Page, Edward Summerfield, Rachel Gang, Ruth Brassard, Ida Neff, Werner Heim, Helene Hubble, Sam Hafter, Albert Heim, Ross Douglas, and Walter Perlmutter. We also were in the period of Shiva, noting the deaths this last week and the funerals earlier this week of Shirley Glussman, Elaine Scheck, and Brian Zabel. Do we have any other yard sites that anyone is observing? Thank you. Yehu Zichronam Livracha. May their memories be a blessing. We ask mourners to rise and those whose custom it is to stand with them. As we turn to page 598, as in their memory we sanctify God's name. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei rabbah, be'alma divra chirute v'yamlich malchute, v'chayechon u'vyomechon u'v'chayei d'chol Beit Yisrael, ba'agala u'vizman kari v'imru amen. Yehi Shmei Rabbah Mevorach Leolam Ulmei Almaya. Yitbarach, Yishtabach, Yitpa'ar, Yitromam, Yitnaseh. Yitadar, Yitaleh, Yitalal, Shmei Dekudusha Berichut. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechamata. Ta'amiran be'alma v'yimru amen. Yehi shalom araba min shemaya. V'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'yimru amen. Oseh shalom b'mramav. Huya aseh shalom. Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'yimru amen. We can all be seated. Before we bring our service to a close, I'll invite Carolyn Geiser to share a few announcements with us.
You started though, see?
I thought
You
I
did.
thought most of the holidays were done. We have that many announcements?
Oh, yeah.
I don't know.
No, we're never. We're never fun. Okay, thank you all for joining us this evening for our service. If you're new or visiting the temple for the first time, please be sure to introduce yourself and let us welcome you. Thank you, Rabbi Jay Sherwood, for leading us this evening. And a special thanks to all the high holiday usher and volunteers, particularly Beth. Thank you, Beth Zimmerman. Join us Saturday night at 6 for a mac and cheese salad and art project, as Rabbi said, and must register. We'd really like you to register at templeshalom.com. It will remain open. Normally it would be closed, but because we want...
I'm going to rewrite that for them tomorrow morning, because join us for mac and cheese salad and art project. It sounds like that. Like the art project is part of dinner.
Well, it might
I don't know.
be.
It's a little weird. There should be like
It does,
a
yeah.
period and then a space. And I don't know.
We're going to be making food with art into food.
Yep.
No, I'm not. That's not
No.
true. No. Join the Men's and Women's Club, which we're going to rename soon, and other volunteers to bring the Temple Shalom Sukkah down Saturday, the 8th at 9 o'clock. Bring your tools and wear your work clothes, and join in the community on Sunday. Also, the Men's and Women's Club has a first speaker event Sunday, the 15th of October, from 12 to noon. Our own Rabbi Jay and our executive director, Kobe Chumash, will be presenting an American Jews and the Israeli American Jews and the Israeli judicial overhaul. I can almost talk. This timely presentation will begin after davening and breakfast at about 10. Register online at templeshalom.com. Members, we've printed your directory. If you haven't received it and you really want one, come to the office during the office hours or contact the office by phone or email for alternative arrangements. Yvonne Zador is forming a new club. If your favorite pastime is to hike the beautiful state of Colorado and are interested in participating in a hiking group, please contact Yvonne via email, which is in the directory at templeshalom.com. Yvonne is open to any suggestions, ideas, times, and places for this exciting new Chavurah. At the East Library on North Union, the last day is October 11th to see Americans and the Holocaust exhibit. By the way, it's really good. It's not huge, but it's really good. The weekly email and member bulletin has a click-through opportunity to learn more and make plans to attend. The Kol Nidre appeal continues. We are asking for 100% participation from members and congregants. Right now, we're at 25. So, 25%. That's like 1/4 of 100%. We need more people to, it doesn't matter, just like $5. That's participation, right? And really exciting news, the temple has been awarded, thank you, Lynn, a matching grant from Jewish Colorado to revitalize and improve the safety of our playground. That means for every dollar that we put in, Jewish Colorado will match that. We've got big plans for new and refreshed equipment, as well as some additional safety features to help keep everyone safe while they're having fun. Help us raise $5,000 so that we need for this project for matching funds. Make your donation to the general fund through templeshalom.com, and be sure to mention the playground project in the description of your donation. Again, $5. Don't drink a coffee sometime, right? I mean, I don't know. I don't drink that. I don't drink coffee. I drink tea. I don't need coffee. Anyway, if you know any temple members who are ill, hospitalized, or suffering from a loss, please contact the temple office so we can be sure to provide encouragement, support. Thank you for coming this evening. Does anybody have anything else they want to add? No? We're all good? We're always going to add one song, and then we're going to go back and eat chocolate.
I think there's stuff that's not chocolate too. I know. I don't know why. I don't know why there would be stuff that's not chocolate, because that's, I don't know. But we're going to turn to page 626. Among those that we said, when we said our yard sites, when we said Kaddish for our yard site, Elaine Sheck, who passed away this past week, Beth's mother, her favorite Jewish song was Ein Kelohim. So we're going to sing, as a tribute to Beth's mom, we're going to sing Ein Kelohim to end our service. Ein Kelohim, Ein Kadonenu, Ein Kemalkenu, Ein Kemoshienu, Mi Elohenu, Mi Hadonenu, Mi Kemalkenu, Mi Kemoshienu. No del Eloheinu, no del Adonenu, no del Malkeinu, no del Moshienu. Baruch Eloheinu, Baruch Adonenu, Baruch Malkeinu, Baruch Moshienu. Atahu Eloheinu, Atahu Adonenu, Atahu Malkeinu, Atahu Moshienu, Atahu Shehiktiru, Avotenu, Lefanecha Eketoret Hasamin. Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Please join us for Kiddush Shemotzi. For those of you online, maybe we'll see you tomorrow morning or tomorrow night. Shabbat Shalom and Chag Sameach, everyone.